Welcome to tonight's coverage of the BTDY Racing League Chase for the BTDY Cup. There's no place like home here at the Kansas Speedway for race 1.
At Cynthia Rogers, MD Dermatology, we specialize in providing comprehensive expert care for the full spectrum of skin conditions, from complex skin diseases and skin cancer to aging concerns and aesthetic needs. With decades of combined experience in medical, surgical, and aesthetic dermatology, our team brings both deep clinical knowledge and a patient-first approach to every visit. Our practice focuses on developing personalized treatment plans tailored to each individual's skin, health, and life stage. We're located in Port St. Lucie, Florida, in the PSL Professional Center. Learn more or schedule a visit at floridaskindoctor.com.
We've been around since 1946, originated as a scrapyard and evolved into a full-on steel service center, buying and selling new steel products of light fabrication, such as cutting, shearing, bending, threading. We also run a wholesale pipe, valve, and fitting plumbing division, as well as a retail showroom outlet. And then we also are a full-on structural steel fabricator, which is the skeletal steel that you see in commercial and residential structures. We sell to a wide variety of contractors, plumbers, maintenance type personnel, underground utility companies. We sell anything from single nuts and bolts to like a typical hardware store type of feel, one fitting, to full semi-loads of pipes. We're a little deeper in our inventory, and we actually have maybe a little more specialized type of fittings and such. Stock quite a diverse inventory, so we try to keep everything here to keep you guys going.
Backed by 70 years of experience, Duncan Water Systems specializes in commercial and residential water system testing, design, installation, and maintenance. Our mission at Duncan Water Systems is to provide high-quality water solutions to every customer. We pride ourselves on being responsive, honest, and customer-oriented. Our priority is safer water for you and your family. Contact us via call, text, email, or visit us at duncanwatersystems.com.
Hello and welcome to the Below the Double Yellow Racing Series live tonight from Atlanta Motor Speedway, now called Echo Park Speedway. This is the vintage Archive Atlanta, and should be a lot of fun to see these guys race it up here in these ARCA machines for tonight's 150 lap event. This is race number 2 of the season after an exciting finish last week at Daytona, with Michael Jones taking the win in dramatic fashion. Heavy damage on his car, breaking through the final wreck, gets to victory lane. We'll see if he can get to victory lane for the second week in a row, or if someone else will be a first-time winner here this season. My name is Adam Baker. I'm up here in the booth with Lucas Lyons tonight from Atlanta. And Lucas, it should be a fun one here in these cars at this old bumpy racetrack.
Yeah, it should definitely be a fun one with how abrasive the track can be. Saving tires is probably going to be really key here. Looking about 40 to 45 laps on a fuel run, which we'll get into that later. And I know in a bunch of different other cars, getting loose out of turn 2 can be a big problem. So we'll definitely see how these drivers handle the exits of these corners here at Old Atlanta.
Yeah, let's take a look at some of the track information. This 1.5 mile racetrack, 24-degree banking in the turns. And just recently reconfigured a couple of years ago into more of a super speedway type of racetrack, but this is not that version of the track. This is definitely a bumpy track, and these cars running a bit more like the old school Gen 6 machines should hopefully end up with some classic early Gen 6 action, where we saw drivers like Kevin Harvick and Dale Earnhardt Jr., Jimmy Johnson, Jeff Gordon all fighting for victories at this racetrack. In cars that look a lot like what you'll see on track tonight. Lucas, I'm definitely excited. A track where you definitely have to have a lot of car control and, like you said, save the tires. These guys definitely up for the challenge here tonight. And we do want to thank you for joining us here on VSPEED for the FloridaSkinDoctor.com Racing Series. Again, the CM Ceramics 225 tonight from Atlanta, as we have just about a minute and a half to go here in the qualifying session. Keith Mayato looks like he is currently the fastest. Let's do another look at the race analysis and some key information into tonight's race. 150 laps, 50-mile-an-hour pit road speed. They will have 6 tire sets available, but one of those is on the car, so they'll have 5 sets realistically that they'll be able to put on for 150 laps. 3 green-white checkered attempts, and they are running a custom setup tonight, which has been kind of reworked, so the car gets a little bit looser and a little bit more neutral handling versus the kind of default ARCA tight setup. So that'll change the characteristics of the car for many of these drivers. We also do have a stage break at lap number 30, so that's going to be a key point. The top, I believe, top 10 drivers all earning stage points there, and it's going to be important to get that track position early.
Yeah, track position is going to be very big, especially at an old track like this. If you're not able to save the tires, it's going to be really hard to pass later on. You'll drop back. So I'm really interested to see how these drivers approach the first 30 laps of this race. Maybe some are going to try to push a little bit harder, knowing that there's going to be that caution. There might be some that are going to see what their tires are at lap 30 and then end up having a long run car at the end. So I'm very excited to see what happens here, Adam.
Yeah, definitely looking forward to a great battle tonight. Good size field, just under 30 drivers joining us for tonight's race at Atlanta. Let's take a look at the starting grid as we wrap up the qualifying session. Rolling off on the front row, it is going to be Keith Mayato, the number 36 driver for Team VSPEED, going to be starting up front, and joining him on the front row, Jeremiah Hobbs in the number 31, the Ryan Newman, or that is a Jeff Burton maybe, paint scheme throwback there. Rolling off from second place, starting in the third spot, it'll be Levi Cox, who was very fast in practice. Michael Kostek going to start from fourth place. Starting in fifth tonight, it'll be Ray Massey. Chris Samard going to start from the sixth spot. Starting in seventh is Noah Mahalski. Daniel Cunningham going to roll off from the eighth position. Jake Mackey starts in ninth, and Ryan Phillips going to round out the top 10.
Starting in P11, we will have Ryan Gemmel. In the 12th position, we'll have Eric Hutton. In the 13th position, we will have the 37 of Brody Hayes. 14th, we'll have James Loveland. 15th position, we'll have Cody Atkins. 16th, we'll have the 63 of Mike Koss. And 17th, we'll have James Barker. And 18th, we'll have Dallas Sullivan. And 19th, we'll have Brady Wagner in the 28. And in 20th position, we'll have Dennis Faircloth.
21st tonight, it's last week's winner, Michael Jones. 22nd, Chase Abel. 23rd on the grid tonight is going to be Adrian Loya, who had a pretty good run going last week before early or late troubles got him. Danny Glover going to roll off from the 24th position. 25th is Colton Freemiller. 26th tonight, Michael Robinson on the grid. 27th, Zach Smith. Chase Coley going to roll off from the 28th position. Rounding out the field tonight, it's 29th place, Todd Giles Jr. So definitely a good size field from Atlanta. Let's go trackside as drivers start to get rolling here. And we are about to get underway from Atlanta. Let's take a look at the track conditions as they do start to move along. It is a pretty hot day here in Atlanta. 79-degree air temp, but the track temp under this sunshine, 125 degrees. So these guys going to definitely be having to conserve the tires, not push too hard. They can really heat them up, and when you overheat a tire, it can be downhill from there. So 125-degree track temp, something to keep an eye on. And again, that lap 30 stage break, definitely going to be an important piece of information for these drivers to strategize around. We'll see if anybody kind of uses that as a way to gain some track position, maybe a little fuel strategy. We'll see how it all works out. Before we get rolling here, Lucas, do you have a pick maybe for a victory here tonight at Atlanta? I know you're kind of new to this league.
I definitely am. I will say Chris in the 77 is probably going to be my pick for tonight. He showed a lot of speed at Daytona. I know this isn't Daytona, but you know, I've been surprised before with people showing speed at Daytona and continue here it at Old Atlanta.
I'm going to go with the pole sitter here tonight. I think he gave me an easy one here. Keith Maiato gets us going. We get tire spin from the drivers right off the start.
Already wrecking in the back.
Oh, we see cars spinning. Max Koss goes around. He's going to get into the inside pit lane wall. No caution. And that is odd right there. Max Koss involved in that one. Let's take a look at what happened to him. The 63. Oh, in front of him was the 02 of Loveland, and then Koss goes around, collects the 55 of Cody Adkins as well. A handful of others possibly involved in that, but damage to a few drivers as we get back going. James Loveland, he's got heavy right front damage. That car dragging on the ground. He may have to bring it down pit lane. Battle is on for the race lead as we've completed lap 1 already. Maiato up top, Hobbs down low. Behind them, it's Levi Cox all by himself, as well as Michael Kostick, and then Samard has moved up a position into the top 5, as now starting to get settled out at the front. But interesting start right there, and glad we kept it green, but unfortunate for the guys, got a little bit of damage.
Yeah, it definitely looked like a bunch of tire spin there at the beginning. People just not expecting on cold tires and how hot this track is. And how slick it actually is as well. Yes, it is abrasive, but it is also a very old surface, as we have the 6 going to the inside of Michael Kostick going to turn 3.
Yeah, Ryan Gemmel in the Florida Skin Doctor machine dives to the inside. He'll take away the 4th spot, already up 7 positions from where he started. Huge mover on this one, taking advantage of the checkup on the start. As the top 2 continue to fight side by side, it's Hobbs that time at the stripe. Maiato down low, trying to get back underneath, but maybe a little tactic here to conserve the tires and maybe save a little bit of fuel while he's at it. He tucks in behind the 31, and here comes Gemmel again, running the top side, trying to get that momentum up.
Yeah, one thing I am nervous about with these drivers running that top lane, it will degrade your tires so much. It's basically a cheese grater running around these tracks with how fast you actually run that top. So I'm really interested on how Hobbs and the 6 here tires hold up as the run continues to go on, as we're only 5 laps into this race here.
Yeah, Gemmel takes that 3rd position away. He moves up 8 positions now. Brody Hayes, his teammate, back in 8th, is up 5 spots. Those two, some of your biggest movers. Jace Cully got to look back to 20th place. He's battling side by side with last week's winner Michael Jones These two side by side just around 20th, and Jace is up 8 positions. They're battling behind Chase Abel. These guys all kind of under a blanket right here, a little ways back from Dennis Faircloth, who'd be the next car up the road. Now getting by Brady Wagner as we had a big slide. That's Dallas Sullivan hanging on to it.
Yeah, as we go up towards the top of the field, it looks like Brody Hayes is making a move to the inside of Michael Kostick here in turns 3 and 4. Kostick throwing in that middle to little bit higher line because he just got shuffled out. So hopefully Kostick can get back down to the bottom and start saving the tires as it looks like Ray Massey's in behind him. So nice little group of 5 cars can basically throw a blanket over these 5 drivers.
Yeah, and you can see up at the front, Gemmel's moved up to second. He's got his sights set on race leader Jeremiah Hobbs on board right now with Ray Massey. He's got a car to the inside and also the 2 cars in front of him. Now actually able to get clear of Chris Samard, who appears to be in save mode as well. He's going to get passed now by Eric Hutton, who has marched forward a few spots. Eric, one of those guys, kind of a classic driver here in BTDY. And it goes all the way back to season 2 when he finished runner-up in the point standings to the first full season champion, AJ Stravato. No AJ here tonight, but we'll see some of those guys probably appear part-time throughout the season. At the front still Jeremiah Hobbs, Ryan Gemmel in second, Mayato in that 3rd spot. As you can see, maybe a little bit loose now for Hobbs. He's going to lose a little time off turn 2.
Yeah, I will say one thing. I do like Mayato's line and 2 cars behind him running that bottom lane, trying to save the tire instead of running that top. It is really, really easy to overdrive the corner running the top and get loose on exit. Any small mistake here can be very detrimental to your tires, whether it's the front tires or rear tires by overdriving it. It's really easy to do here.
Yeah, you can see that 31, he's just got so much wheel cranked into it, and it is really costing him on exit. Here comes Gemmel now to the back bumper, just a car length and a half into turn number 3. They spread out a little bit as he's got a lift, a little arrow push potentially, but able to get the momentum back up off the exit of the turn, and he is there now. Your top 5 cars have broken away. And you got to go back another 1.5 seconds to Brody Hayes in that 6th position. Look at Mayato now shut the door on Noah Mahalski. Noah Mahalski might be a sneaky pick here tonight. He's been good in these ARCA cars. It's improved so much over the last few seasons here in BTDY, and he's been knocking on the door for a win for a long time. We see him over on Saturday nights get some victories in the SNR Challenger Series.
Yeah, he's basically quick in about everything that he runs. He looks to the inside of Keith right now. As of right now, he looks a little bit clear as Keith is getting a run on the top side, which is really easy to do on the top. But like I keep hitting on, as this race goes on, I'm really curious to see how these tires hold up running the top. As you've seen Jeremiah Hobbs, Ryan Gemmel continue to run that top side, and 36 is still holding a good line there on the bottom. So, man, I'm really interested to see how these last 17, as Noah makes another move to the bottom here.
Yeah, big send there from Mahalski. He's going to go try and clear up. Not going to be able to do it. Mayato keeps the pedal down at the front. Hobbs under attack. Gemmel caught the wall a couple laps ago. This time, though, able to carry the momentum off turn 2. He'll send it to the inside now, and Hobbs, who's been a mainstay up there on the top, maybe starting to feel the tires heat up a little bit too much. Only 13 laps into this, halfway towards stage number 1, and these guys are pushing hard. We'll see if anyone can conserve just enough to maybe track down these top 5. As what a battle we're seeing here, all different lines, and that's the beauty of this old Atlanta racetrack.
Yeah, it definitely is. These top 5 have pulled away about 2 seconds now at this point, and continuing to pull away from the car in 6th place. And it's really interesting to see all these different lines from these different drivers. I'm curious if they're just trying to learn and experiment with how these tires are over the run and how they continue to wear on this cheese grater track.
Yeah, Hobbs has been able to defend, which is impressive because you can see the fall off. He is wiggling a little bit off the corner and just trying to keep it off the outside wall as well. I am going to keep my eye on Brody Hayes here, a driver who we know is really good. He's gotten wins in this league over the past few seasons, and it could find his way up there to battle for the lead at some point. Gemmel now losing a few spots, might have caught the outside wall. He falls to fourth, and now Levi Cox going to look to the inside, and Keith Mayato going to try and get to the point. Possibly lost Jeremiah Hobbs. Oh, he is back. Lost him for a few moments there, and that is going to be a little bit of a shocker there for the 36. You're running your normal line, car in front of you disappears, and then you don't know when he's going to come back. But here he is back out front. And big bobble there off turn 4.
Yeah, it can definitely throw you off if the car in front of you is blinking. And one thing I'm noticing between everybody on this track, everyone seems to be migrating up towards the top, which is something I really didn't expect. It might just be the low horsepower of the car with how much grip it has, but you can see it towards the top of your screen. Everyone seems to be running up towards the top now, and Jeremiah Hobbs gets in the wall a little bit, gets loose, and luckily was able to save it, and we'll lose a few spots in the process, but I mean, he still has a clean car and still hasn't fallen too far back of these lead 4 cars. Yeah,
minor scuff to the outside wall, but will cost him some time. Brody Hayes continues to close in. He was the fastest car, faster than the top 5. Behind him, though, Eric Hutton and Chris Samard are on the move. They are running under 31.6s compared to your leaders, nearly 31.8. So they might be able to get there before the end of the stage. They're going to have to work past quite a few other cars, but you're seeing just out the back from the 36 and now behind the 31, Brody Hayes is getting closer and closer and bringing the rest of the field with him.
Yeah, every time they go around the track, Noah Hayes is just reeling them in a little bit. And, you know, a bunch of race car drivers say this. Catching them is one thing, passing them is another. And it is definitely true at this track with how loose it is. And, hopefully he will be able to get around them.
Yeah, he's closing in fast now behind Jeremiah Hobbs and Levi Cox, Noah Mahalski, Ryan Gemmel. He was 0.2 faster than your race leader that time, so they have saved just enough, and they may have enough time to run him down. The question is, will Brody Hayes have burned his stuff up a little bit too much, and will Eric Hutton or Ray Massey or Chris Samard, Daniel Cunningham, any of these other drivers in the top 10 who are within striking distance, be able to get up there and win the stage? At the front, though, Mayato's pulled out by nearly 0.4 over his teammate Ryan Gemmel, who's recovered back up to second. 10 laps to go in the stage. Side by side for 4th place is Noah Mahalski and Jeremiah Hobbs, and here is Brody Hayes now under about 1 second from Keith Mayato. That's how much time he's gained here over the last few laps, and we are 3 wide further back. Mike Kostick in the middle, Cody Adkins, who is a lap down, as well as that is the 08 of Daniel Cunningham, the Buc-ee's machine. That's a nice paint scheme in my opinion. And the 80 of Dennis Faircloth, gonna go to the inside, big slide for the 80. It's gonna go around, and no yellow because he's off the racing surface. He might be able to stay on the lead lap because of where he ended up, but wow, he got really loose, and oh, big run over the bump right there in the infield.
Yeah, that is definitely a scary moment when a driver gets loose in front of you. It is really hard to slow down these cars and not get into other people on this slick surface, and the drivers behind him did a really good job not getting into him, luckily.
Yeah, Dennis went for a wild ride at Daytona, one of the lowest speed flips I have ever seen here on iRacing, as Gemmel works back to the outside. Levi Cox, the battle for second. 4/10 up the road is Keith Mayato, and just about a half second out back is Brody Hayes, who continues to close in right up by the outside wall, carrying a ton of momentum, but might be running out of time. His gap to Mayato has started to stabilize here, about 1.1 seconds.
Yeah, he might have burned up his stuff a little bit too soon. As you look a little bit further back to Ray Massey, you got 5 cars under a blanket again, and you have Eric Hutton on the bottom of the 77 of Chris Samard, and Hutton's actually going to drop back behind Noah Mahalski, it looked like, for a second, as he's still to the inside of Noah Mahalski as of right now. hopefully he can slide up and get in line and see what he can do from there.
Yeah, big slide there for Hobbs off turn 4. That'll cost him some momentum. And here comes Ray Massey now to the top side, trying to get back level to where he started in this race. Down 1 position currently. Chris Simard also trying to get back to where he started after kind of taking it easy. And Hobbs really struggling after leading the early portion of this race. He definitely used up all his tires and just trying to make it to the end of this stage. Out in front, Ryan Gemmel trying to track down his teammate, and he's gotten a little bit closer. And Brody Hayes is actually starting to reel him back in. Another 10th there, but he's going to have to go a little bit faster than that if he wants to win the stage. Lots of great battles all over the place. We've got one back here. James Barker, Chase Abel. This is 16th and 17th. Last week's winner, Michael Jones, runs 18th behind them. And we also see Brady Wagner, Michael Robinson. Pretty much anywhere you look, there are cars near each other battling for position. And coming back to 4 laps to go to the end of the stage, it's Mayato 0.3 of a second up the road. That gap's shrinking.
Yeah, I think that draft for Ryan Gemmel is really playing a part, as you actually see sparks coming out of Keith and running that top lane. These cars might be actually bottoming out in the corner, which is really shocking to me. But as you see Keith just trying to get some clean air on that nose to help with that center rotation and hopefully not get loose behind him. Now, you've seen a bunch of drivers do it so far this race, and it really heats up the rear tires, which makes it kind of kill the tires a little bit more, and you lose so much grip for the laps after that little slide that you have.
Yeah, and they're starting to close in on lap traffic. That is Adrian Loya, Todd Giles Jr., Max Kost is not too far up the road. Remember, he got turned around on the initial start of the race. Gemmel is pushing the issue right up to the outside wall. I think he pushed it a little too far that time. Looks like Levi Cox might get through. And here we go, battling for the end of the stage. 3 cars within 0.3 of a second. And it's going to be a close one here. Who is going to get that bonus point? Gemmel into the wall harder that time and still dragging. That's going to cost him a lot of momentum. Brody Hayes might be able to get through to 3rd as the lap machine's right in front. All kinds of action here coming to lap number 30. Similar to what we saw last week at Daytona, people were battling so hard early on knowing the stage was there. And Loya, big slide off the corner. The leader's right behind him. And Keith Mayato across the stripe. It may be the end of the lap. We'll have to see when they call the yellow.
As we continue to say green, there's the caution. That's what we need to see. So we have the stage winner, Keith Mayato.
So that
pole sitter.
Yeah, Keith Mayato, pole sitter, didn't lead those first few laps, fell back a little bit. Ends up leading the next 15 laps of the stage, taking the stage victory. So congrats to Keith on that. Some bonus points there for him. And that's going to be important. He's been looking for a championship in this series, one of the all-time winningest drivers here in BTDY. Had a couple of off seasons, finally got back to victory lane last year, or this last season, a few times, and ended up runner-up in the points. And he'll be looking to do one better in the championship this season as the drivers catch the pace car and should be headed to pit lane. What an exciting run to the stage there, Lucas. That was I'm glad we kept it all clean and green.
Yeah, that start really scared me a lot with maybe having an early caution, but I really liked what Keith did, saving the tires in the beginning and let Jeremiah Hobbs get past him, and then he used the fresher tires that he had to drive back up to the lead. As you see drivers coming to their pit boxes now, the main thing you want to focus on is not overshooting your pit box.
Yeah, tough to do at Atlanta as well with these old tires, as looks like Todd Giles Jr. and Brady Wagner are maybe staying out on the racetrack. And we'll see who gets the lucky dog. Keith Mayato off and away. No issues there for the 36. He'll win the battle off. And then it's Levi Cox, Gemmel, and Samard side by side. Really close drag race to the line there. And Ray Massey, Eric Hutton, Noah Mahalski, Daniel Cunningham, and looks like Jeremiah Hobbs, maybe, who started up there in second. He's fallen back to 14th now. Maybe got a little bit of damage cleaned up on that race car after he caught the wall a few times. But definitely an exciting night so far for the CM Ceramics 225. We're glad you could join us here on VSPEED. Make sure to like, share, subscribe if you enjoy what you're seeing on the broadcast. And yeah, check out all the race sponsors. You'll see them down in the video description. The FloridaSkinDoctor.com racing series for BTDY. Pace car lights are going to go off here. It'll be Mayato and Cox on the front row. And just to recap, we've got our 1 caution for the stage, 3 lead changes, and a whole lot of battling yet to happen here. These guys will have 4 sets of tires left to go 100 and just short of 120 laps here.
Yeah, as we hit on at the beginning of the show, a fuel run is around 40 to 45 laps, so it should still be 2 stops for the end of the race. And I will say, getting on pit road here under green flag conditions, it's really hard to do. And hopefully Keith Mayato can not spin the tires as we saw at the beginning of the race, and hopefully no other driver does it too, and we stay green.
Yeah, I think they've got at least a little bit of experience now in getting onto the throttle, and some of these guys might just take it a little bit easier. Speaking of who got involved there in the early part of this race, James Loveland, who caught the wall. I think he had right front suspension damage, and that was enough to take him out of the race. He's behind the wall. Zach Smith also is taking it behind the wall. Cody Adkins 4 laps down after getting collected in the initial start. As into the restart zone, Mayato off and away much cleaner that time, and I think maybe the 54 a little conservative. So we are now back green here at Atlanta, and Mayato out to a good jump, 4 or 5 car lengths in hand. As the battle for second is on. Cox down low, Gemmel up high, nearly 3 wide there with Noah Mahalski, who was quick in the opening portion of this race. Is he going to be able to charge up and get back into the top 5?
Yeah, Keith Mayato had a great launch. I don't know if the 54 just took it really easy, but he will fall back as he's fighting for 4th right now with the 77 of Chris Samard, and it's 2 by 2 by 2 behind him. So as of right now, it's really, really interesting, and hopefully this keeps up throughout the race as we saw in the first 30 laps.
Yeah, definitely an exciting run to the first stage there. As let's take a look at last week's winner, Michael Jones, the number 2 car. He's moving up now, finally starting to make some forward progress. Learned probably a bit through the first 30 laps. Finds himself inside the top 15 now, so keep an eye on that number 2 as he starts to march forward up 6 spots. Biggest mover so far in this one, though, by far, is Jace Coley, up 16 positions, up to 12th right now as he battles with Daniel Cunningham. And wow, it is a hornet's nest up in front of them. Brody Hayes just in front of 3 wide. That's Chris Samard, Noah Mahalski, Ray Massey. These guys very familiar running around each other, and obviously comfortable going 3 wide in on a difficult racetrack.
Yeah, they're just looking for anywhere to put their nose and to hopefully get around the car in front of them and continue to march their way towards the front. It's really hard to actually find a good viable line in this type of traffic with all that dirty air in front of you. It is really easy with that dirty air to also lose the nose, whether it's the front or the rear end, and hopefully get loose, hopefully not get loose, excuse me. And as they continue to go side by side, as we've seen earlier.
Ooh.
54 got to the wall a little bit there, but the 6 of Ryan Gemmel to the front, and Keith just kind of lets him go, biding his time and praying that he can get back up there towards the front, as they're still 3 wide with Eric Hutton, the 54, and the 03 of Noah Mahalski.
Yeah, 54 Levi Cox really caught the outside wall pretty good there, and it got pretty tight on the exit with Eric Hutton just squeaking past. And Hutton now running that top side. Look at Brody Hayes, who's marched up 10 positions. Gemmel also up 10 spots. So the VSPEED teammates there finding their way to the front. Eric Hutton, though, he's up 9 spots as well. A lot of guys moving forward, finding speed on the long run in stage 1, and making good use of that as he's got now clear of the 37, and Levi Cox settled back into 5th. He'll look to the inside of Hayes, and then it's Jace Cully up 20 positions, continues to fly through the field. That bright teal machine on the outside behind Ray Massey going to go around. Noah Mahalski make that 21 positions gain for the driver of the 65. Nobody else even close to that number other than Ryan Gemmel up 10 positions.
Yeah, Jace Coley's actually, he is hauling the mail right now. And as it starts to single file out here, one thing I hit on earlier that I seemed to be incorrect about was running that bottom line. It seems like with this new tire model, with the update that came out today, the top is actually where you kind of want to be, which honestly surprises me.
Yeah, I'm not sure if old Atlanta had little different properties where you could actually run the top and maybe conserve a little bit up there, but these guys, you know, I think maybe with the tight setup, they might be hurting it a little more to actually run the bottom because they're putting a little more wheel into it. Even though they're carrying more speed on the top side, maybe this is just the best and least abrasive way around here as Cully goes around Mahalski to finally complete that pass. Levi Cox settling into 6th. He was a driver we saw get the wall there early in this stage. And he's now going to look to the inside of Ray Massey. So constant battles, constant shaking and moving here inside the top 10. Outside of the top 10, a few drivers who had some issues. We'll take a look at Dennis Faircloth, who is finally back going the right direction here, up 3 positions after sliding around there through the grass. We see a car down low, Colton Freymiller, as Dallas 46. Sullivan. Oh, good job, keeps it off the inside wall there.
Yeah, it looked like he got onto the apron. I'm not really too sure what happened. As we'll take a, oh, he just gets loose in the middle of the corner, put a little bit too much will into it, gets the apron, but still did a really good job locking it down and not hitting that inside wall, causing further damage to that car.
Yeah, really nice job by Dallas to preserve that race car. He'll come in and put some fresh tires on it. Definitely going to have superheated them by doing that, as he'll go a lap down, and this may play into a strategy call for him now, hoping that things go green and maybe he's a little bit off cycle, as Ryan Gemmel, still your race leader, out here for 8 laps now in front of his teammate Keith Mayato. Brody Hayes into 3rd, and wow, we are really stacked up at the front, and that is really cool to see. This ARCA machine kind of bringing the field a little closer together than we've seen in previous seasons with the Xfinity and the next gen cars. And Gemmel under heavy pressure, maybe catches the wall a little bit.
Yeah, this is absolutely great stuff, and I'm glad I'm up here watching all this great stuff as Jason Coley's going 3 wide with Ray Massey and Noah as he clears both of them.
Wow, Coley,
he's holding the mail right now.
Yeah, he's up another spot, make it 22 positions gained, and you know, I'm really concerned that his tires are going to fall off here in pretty short order. It's probably only about 5 more laps that he has running this kind of speed. He's one of the fastest cars, if not the fastest car on the racetrack, and Jace Cully finding some good forward momentum as he catches the outside a little bit. That'll put him back side by side with Mahalski, who seems to be pretty much staying right there with him, as the top 3 essentially nose to tail using that top groove. It's just all about a half car width down from each other. You can see getting that clean air, and then kind of bump drafting a little bit here on the straightaways. The VSPEED machines maybe working together. Maybe Mayato and Hayes are getting a little fed up with the 6 machine out front.
Yeah, it's really fun to see everybody running the top, as it looks like Keith Mayato's actually making a move to the inside of Ryan Gemmel down the backstretch side by side, as it looks like Brody Hayes is actually coming to help Keith. And as of right now, Ryan is still at the quarter, and actually Keith is clear off of turn 4.
Yeah, clear for the lead goes Mayato again. That's Second time he'll take the lead away, and last time he ran with it all the way to the stage victory. A long ways to go in this one. Gemmell right up by the outside, safer barrier. Little drag at the right rear, gets the dust stirred up, but he's under pressure now from Brody Hayes. And then Eric Hutton, he's got 3 cars all in there behind him, the 88 in that 4th spot. But Cox now starting to move forward, and he's got Noah Mahalski down low, nearly gets into him. A little bump off the corner, and that'll cost both of them a lot of momentum. Here comes Jace Coley now breaking into the top 5. 23 positions up for Jace Coley. Now goes to the inside of Eric Hutton, trying to keep that forward progression going, and he is not going to be able to complete the pass, but settling into 5th. What an amazing run. If Jace Coley can get the win here tonight, this would be essentially the last to first challenge, and you know, that would be very impressive in a car like this at a track like this.
Yeah, I am really surprised with how easy it seems up in the booth for Jace Coley to actually drive through this field. And I know behind that steering wheel, he's absolutely driving the tires off of this thing. It might be he's actually just using the draft to do most of the work for him instead of using the tires. Hopefully he can keep the tires under him, because it's absolutely amazing to watch him drive through this field, starting from 28th, currently up to 5th.
And it's going to be interesting to see the fuel strategy come into play in this one. Look at Noah Mahalski, the huge send down low, trying to do a little bit of a slide job if he can clear the 65, but there's not really a gap for him to close up in, as we've got a car wrecked down low, and that is the 30 of Adrian Loya destroyed on the backstretch, and that is going to bring the yellow out. That was right in front of the leaders, and good thing they had a heads up there to avoid it. Let's see what happened. The number 30 Freedom Factory Mustang coming off of turn number 2, back end gets light, comes around, and huge hit, and that'll be a race ending incident for Adrian. Big hit, as yeah, look at this, the caution came out late as they were closing in on him, and good job for everybody to get around. But that'll be the end of the night for Adrian Loya. A couple early exits, or rather exits from races before the checkered flag, so not going to be the best start to the season for him, and he'll have an opportunity to rebound in the coming races. But Keith Mayato able to get to the lead, and caution comes out again, and he'll lead him back down pit road most likely. I don't think anyone is going to think to stay out here.
Yeah, I definitely don't think anyone's going to be able to stay out or afford it, because the lap times have fallen off dramatically, even from qualifying, falling off 2 whole seconds throughout that run. And as we have Keith, as you hit on, bringing them all down pit road.
Yeah, we'll see what he is able to do here. Gets into the box nicely, and nobody's probably going to take 2. There's no real benefit to it on a night like tonight. Maybe if it's a very short run, you might be able to pull off a 2-tire pit stop and gain some track position if you have just a short run coming up. Look at this battle off of pit lane. Going to be so close. It's Mayato, though. And then Gemmell, Hayes, Hutton, Brady Wagner staying out to, I believe, lead a lap right there. Came back in. I'm not too sure if he actually might have taken it behind the wall for a moment, but currently shows him as the race leader. Either way, it's been an exciting night so far from Atlanta. That's our first actual caution. We had the stage break at lap 30. Keith Mayato, your stage 1 winner. And definitely a fun time here tonight for the CM Ceramics 225. We'll be right back after a quick commercial break to take the green flag. back at the racetrack, about to get things going. You can see the field looking a little bit shorter than it was before. We're down to 22 cars on the lead lap. Brady Wagner, the last one of those. He's starting to close up to the field now. Dallas Sullivan 1 lap down after going for that slide off of turn 2. Michael Robinson 1 lap down. Todd Giles Jr. Cody Adkins able to get 1 lap back through that cycle, 3 laps down now. And Adrian Loya, who had the hard hit there, still sitting on pit road, but likely his day is done, bringing out the second caution. And green flag back in the air. Another good jump for Keith Mayato. See how far he's able to pull out in front this time as his teammates battle for second.
Yeah, as we have Ryan Gimbel on top of Brody Hayes coming out of turn 2. It looks like Brody might have the run coming out now, so we'll just see if he gets clear, and he won't. Side by side, Brody Hayes falls back side by side with Eric Hutton, as it looks like Noah Mahalski is going to send it 3 wide on Eric Hutton and Ryan Gimbel, and they go back to double file out of turn 4.
Yeah, interesting to see Gemmel there actually lose some time on the top. Hayes was able to just carry the speed down low, and then Eric Hutton able to insert himself into that battle. Got very sideways. You can see he's actually starting to get a little bit loose very early on the cold tires, and still 3 wide. There's Mahalski down low, not quite clear of the 03. Now the 23 of Massey up towards the outside wall. Here comes Jace Coley trying to get up into the battle, and he's got an even better starting spot than he did after the end of stage 1 to continue to march forward. We'll see if he just continues to push the issue and drive forward. Look at the speed he's carrying through 1 and 2, trying to get clear of Ray Massey, not able to do it.
Yeah, Noah Mahalski is not afraid to definitely send it 3 wide on the start. We've seen him do it time and time again. That time it didn't work out, just got a little bit loose and lost the speed, as we still have Jace Coley trying to run down Massey to continue his hard charge. As it look as the 2 got into a wall there.
Yeah, a little bit of a drag on the wall for the 2 of Michael Jones, last week's winner, who has continued to march his way forward in this one up to 11. Very impressive drive for him, just slow and methodical, and not trying to use the car up too much as he closes in behind Michael Kostick, who started up there in the 4th position and kind of dropped back immediately, and he's now just starting to close back in. Max Costa, driver we saw catch the wall down on pit lane right on the initial start of this one. He's now inside the top 15, so keep an eye on Max, who's another one of those drivers, been in the league for a while now and seems to find his way forward. Up to 12th, as up in front it's Brody Hayes is taking the lead away from Keith Mayato. Keith seems to be happy to give the lead up to his teammates, knowing that he's probably just going to track him back down in about 10 laps.
We've seen him do it time and time again, him run that bottom for that first little bit, as Noah does a hard charge actually on Keith, and you know, I just think Keith is saving his stuff. He's done it time and time again, and as a good saying I tend to live by, thought broke, don't fix it.
It's obviously working so far for him. He'll go to the inside now. Eric Hutton can clear the 88. Mahalski still working the inside lane. He's been pretty committed to that when others have been committed to the top, so different approach there for Mahalski. Got him the track position early in this, and he started to fade at the end of stage 1, but right now battling inside the top 5 as Ray Massey tries to get up alongside, and a little contact there. Michael Jones, Michael Kostick.
Great job by everyone saving that little skirmish there.
Yeah, let's go
Not getting it to one another. Go ahead.
Let's go take a look at what happened between those 2. That was an unusual incident. Jace Coley right there, as it might have been, yeah, the 2 just came up the hill, maybe thought he was clear, and dangerous position to do that. These cars don't really like to turn right, and sometimes they have a hard time turning back to the left.
One thing I will say about these cars, the air will actually pull the cars to the right if someone gets on your right side quarter panel just a little bit too much. So that's one thing that I actually didn't consider, because I completely forgot about bringing it up with these ARCA cars.
Yeah, side draft, we've seen that come into action a little bit. You see it right there. Michael Jones puts the side draft on Caustic down into the corner. He's going to be able to drag it back just enough, maybe clear him off turn 2. Not able to do it that time. Behind him, it's Cost and Faircloth. Those two are making recovery drives in this one and just outside the top 10. Impressive work by those drivers. Ryan Phillips was a guy, I believe he kind of moved his way forward at Daytona into the top 10 in the late going, and somebody we didn't really talk about most of the race. We haven't talked about him at all in this one. Qualified in 10th, running just about that same spot, but kind of finding his way back forward as Caustic catches the wall, and they all get clear of him, but stacking up here on the backstretch as they'll go side by side into turn 3, the 9 and the 27, and out here in the top 5, it's Chase Coley moving up to 4th, his highest running position of the night, up 24 spots after starting in 28th. If he doesn't win this race, he's at least going to be the story of the race with the way he's driven here.
Yeah, that is definitely for sure. It's not easy driving through a stacked field like this. I know this is my first season over here, and I didn't have a great showing at Daytona, but man, it was so hard even driving through the field at Daytona. And the 65, he's just making it look really easy here tonight.
Yeah, it's really surprising. You don't often see a driver just fly through, but you know, maybe a lot of guys trying to save their stuff, you know, it's hoping for long runs. And you know, in this case, we're gonna have just short of 100 laps. I believe it's gonna be, yeah, just about 95 laps to the end of the race from when we started this run. And it's going to be a very tight window for fuel as the 37 and the 6 side by side for the lead. Gemmel gets it back at the stripe, but Hayes with the momentum going to try and get by him again here in turns 1 and 2. He had a big slide off 4. That's how they got side by side like that. But Gemmel maybe learning from his teammate Keith Mayato, trying to save his stuff. Now cuts the inside crossover off turn 2.
This is definitely some good stuff here by Brody Hayes. Looks to the inside of Ryan Gemmel as he's clear. Let's see if he slides out of turn 4. Gemmel has the run. We'll see if Gemmel tries to take it back here. Gemmel gets in the wall a little bit actually as he dives to the inside of Brody Hayes going through the quad oval into turn 1. Let's see if he can carry the momentum. Gemmel is clear right now, so teammates battling really hard here as it looks like we might have a little bit of 3-wide action as Chase Coley gets loose out of turn 2.
Yeah, big slide right there. And that's just from pushing so hard all race long, I would think. How about Dennis Faircloth? You know, he was sideways in the grass not that long ago, seemingly, and he's up here just outside the top 5. Really pushing hard on this run to gain all that track position and, you know, maybe seeing things, you know, end up yellow flag every 25-30 laps, kind of similar to what we saw at Daytona. He's pushing really hard right now, but some of these guys, you know, they're gonna have to conserve the tires maybe a little bit here. You know, if we get a quick caution after another caution or something like that, as Brody Hayes catches the wall, stacking up, Hutton down the hill, 3 wide.
As the 80 sends it 3 wide on Eric Hutton. And he's still side by side with the 36 as Kelly's still banging on the rear bumper of the 80 of Faircloth. This is really interesting as Kelly gets loose again out of turn 2.
Yeah, that all started with the 37 of Brody Hayes catching the wall coming down the hill. Hutton had to check up. He went for a little bit of a slide, and he's fallen back to 8th now. Hutton, who's been in the top 5 most of this race, going to try and gain some spots back, but Faircloth into the top 5. Coley loses a couple spots trying to squeeze in front of the 88, just does it there as the 23 of Massey up on the top side. Those two will go side by side battle for the lead. It's Gemmel and Mahalski. It's just a carousel of names at the front of the field right now. And it has made for a very exciting race. To recap, we've had 2 cautions, 9 lead changes. Might have our 10th here if Mahalski can get alongside, maybe get clear at the stripe. Not going to happen this time. He'll tuck back in line, and now Hayes with a head of steam, and Mayato closing back in. Mayato's been kind of stalking these guys after, you know, dropping back on the starts. Loses a few spots, ends up getting the track position back, but the way they're racing, You know, he's going to have to hope that we get some green flag runs, because I don't know that that's a guarantee how hard these guys are driving right now.
Yeah, they are driving the absolute wheels out of this thing. As the battle for the lead still continues, my personal preference, I do like where Ryan Gemmel is at a little bit more than where Noah Michalski is running. I know Michalski is doing a really good job wrapping that bottom, but the run that Ryan Gemmel just gets off the top, it's really, really hard to beat unless Noah just sends it in there and tries to do a slide job like we normally see at tracks like Chicagoland, Kansas, tracks like that. It's really hard as he gets right to his left rear quarter panel, side by side to the line. That's still going to go to Ryan Gemmel. As we were hitting on earlier, Keith Mayato up to third, passes Brody Hayes right to the rear bumper of Ryan Gemmel, a car length back now, as the leaders are just slowing each other down, running side by side. As look like in the back, Mike Koss gets loose and Faircloth gets in the wall out of turn 2.
Yeah, that was 27 of Phillips, who is to the inside. The 80 of Faircloth, I believe, caught the wall. It's worth 3 wide for the lead. And Michalski going to lead at the stripe. That'll be a second lap led. This is getting spicy up here as Gemmel to the top side, not able to fend him off completely, but going to try and carry that speed off too. This has just not been the strong end of the racetrack for Noah Michalski on that inside lane. Really good off turn 4, but Mayato just trying to find a way around. He saved his tires just a little bit, and now he's just got to find a gap, an opportunity when these two make a mistake. As Gemmel a little slow off the corner once again, and Michalski also not too quick on that end of the track. And now the VSPEED machines all go to the top side as Michalski just, like you said, doing an amazing job wrapping the bottom and finding grip down there. And Gemmel checking up Mayato. Now it's side by side, nose to nose down the backstretch. Michael Jones down the hill in the distance, able to get that one collected as just past halfway. This is an incredible battle, all amongst the top 10, top 15, as Gemmel still fighting that race car, fighting to keep the lead. Leads at the stripe again by inches.
Yeah, this has been an amazing battle up at the front with Gemmel running the top and Michalski wrapping the bottom. There is a little bit of grip on that white line that goes around that track, and Michalski is hitting every single line, wrapping that bottom perfectly, but it's still not perfect enough to get a good enough run. As we go 3 wides with the 36, the 6, and the 03, still 3 wide at the line. Mayato's going to lead that lap. Let's see if he can carry the momentum going into 1 and 2. Still 3 wide. This is amazing stuff. As the 36 clears Gemmel, the teammates kind of working together, it seems like. Seemed like Gemmel was like, okay, Mayato, you're the faster one. Go ahead and take it here.
Yeah, and Keith able to take advantage of the opening between those two drivers battling for the lead. Gemmel catches the wall. Teammate Brody Hayes underneath. And Ryan Gemmel goes from the lead back to about 5th, maybe even 6th or 7th at the end of this one. Just after that hit off the wall. Here comes Eric Hutton now going to go to the inside. And you got to wonder, Keith Mayato maybe saved a bit there, but had to battle hard with those two. Has he used up a little bit more than some of these guys, maybe in the back part of the top 10? Maybe Chris Samard, who's been back here kind of biding his time, not really pushing the car, and you know, he might have a little bit left in the tank to try and go up there and track these guys down. 20 or so laps to go in this run, maybe 25 if they can stretch it that far, and that would get them close to the end on just one more stop.
Yeah, I talked to one of the drivers before the race, asking how long can you go on a fuel tank, and he told me about 40 to 45 laps, and we had 95 laps to go after that last caution that we had. So if you save enough, you're still going to be 5 laps short. So I think all these drivers are just like, you know what, I'm going to get as much as I can out of this run and then try to save. And then you have people in the back half of the top 10 thinking the opposite. I'm going to save here so I can push later on. So it'll be really interesting to see how drivers get onto pit road and off of pit road and what strategy they end up using, because tires is really big here. As it seems like all these drivers are starting to single file out and actually run that top line.
Yeah, I'm surprised that my auto is not just driven away. Brody Hayes is kind of coming on in this run. He led some, and here he goes now to the inside of the teammate. Could be that Keith, seeing the fuel distance they've got to go, might just be backing off a little bit here. Has the track position, has the tires, and he's going to let his teammate go out in front, and maybe he's going to draft. No, he's going to still squeeze to the outside, and Noah Mahalski's giving him a huge shove down the backstretch. Top 3 now pulling away. Ryan Gemmel back to that 4th spot. Daniel Cunningham has moved up to 5th. Very impressive drive by him as well, up 3 spots from the 8th starting position in the Bucky's car. Eric Hutton up 6 positions behind him, and Jace Coley still having a fantastic night. 21 positions up from where he started in this one. Chris Samard, Ray Massey, these are 2 that I would keep an eye on to maybe march forward at the latter part of this run. Looks like Samard already gaining a couple of positions back, and he's running the fastest laps of anyone inside the top 10. So definitely keep an eye on that 77 machine. He's starting to move forward again.
I will say this, on lap 82, we actually had Levi Cox come down pit road, so that he's trying to undercut it to see where he can gain that track position, because times has fallen off 2 seconds. So you can definitely gain a lot of time, but like I said, this track eats up tires fast. So if he's going to have to make it, he's going to have to take every single run that he can, hopefully wrapping the bottom, because it seems like most of these drivers are actually running that top, as is really shocking to me. But we'll see how it plays out for Levi Cox as we have a battle for the lead as the
Ryan
27
Phillips.
of Ryan Phillips comes down pit road, as it looks like Brody Hayes and Keith Mayato are still side by side. These teammates want that lead back.
Yeah, and maybe trying to get the bonus point for most laps led. I believe it's in the hands of Keith Mayato right now. Brody's led 11. Keith's led 39. Their teammate Ryan Gemmel just caught the wall once again, and he's under fire from Daniel Cunningham, who is really closing in on all of these drivers. So Daniel might be in the catbird seat here, saving just enough to close in and maybe get out in front at the end of this stint. And interesting you mentioned, though, Levi Cox, Ryan Phillips, those guys bringing it in. It looks like James Barker also brought it down, so maybe they've just gone as far as they feel like they can go on tires. They're going to split this into 2 runs, and try and make up all that time just through the tire advantage, which may be possible. This is one of those types of distances that it might actually be faster to pit twice, potentially, with the way the fall off is, but we'll have to see how that all shakes out. Battle is on for the lead. Hayes, Mahalski side by side off turn 2. They're closing in on the lap machine of Todd Giles, and it looks like Dennis Faircloth also, oh, that was just a slide for him. I thought he actually brought it down pit lane, but no, he's still out there running in 13th. Is Ray Massey going to commit to come down? So he's going to recognize he's not going to be able to make it potentially on fuel, just on one more stop. And here he comes down pit lane from inside the top 10. This will probably start a pit cycle, for this strategy. And we'll see who's the next to bring it in here.
Yeah, this is definitely a good opportunity.
Oh, lap car in the wall!
4 wide.
Oh man, Todd Giles was just up the hill. I believe we were 2 or 3 wide for the lead, and not really anywhere those guys could go, but it did not work out for the 14 or Brody Hayes. Let's take a look, as he is slow on the racetrack right now. So he was getting caught. You can see Mayato there. This is the race replay. So Giles was up there on the top side, I think trying to get out of the way potentially, and Brody Hayes just ran all over him, and nowhere for the 37 to go. Somehow they keep it pointed in the right direction, but that was nearly devastating for all of our leaders. And Giles getting a piece of damage there. Hayes with the front bumper also was a bit damaged on him. Max Cost looks like he's brought it down pit lane. Just trying to see who else. Jake Mackey's brought it in. So quite a few drivers committing to this strategy, and Levi Cox currently in the top spot of all of those. He's trying to get back on the lead lap here. You can see him battling with these leaders.
Yeah, you can definitely see the tire advantage that Levi Cox has right now. As he pitted, it seems like only 8 laps ago. So 8 laps compared to, what, 30?
37
Like,
laps. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a huge advantage. But one thing I do want to point out with Levi Cox, his pace has already fallen off 1 second. I don't know if that was lap traffic, as he got Brody Hayes, and I think that was the 17 that just drove by on pit road. So pit stops is definitely open right now, but Levi Cox is the first one leading that cycle, so we'll definitely have to keep an eye on him, see where he cycles out. And relative to Keith Mayato, Eric Hutton down pit road as well.
Yeah, Hutton has brought it in. Right behind him, Michael Kostik's brought it in. So a lot of drivers inside the top 10 bringing it down. We'll see when Mayato comes in, if he's just going to run the tank out and maybe try and make it on one stop. Could have been his strategy from the jump of this one. Jeremiah Hobbs has closed up now behind him. So how about Hobbs, who was really good the opening part of this race, led about 15 laps, faded really fast, and now has found his way back up here, maybe to battle for the lead. We've got a lot of cars now coming in. Mahalski, Cully, the 7 of Chase Abel, Michael Jones possibly bringing it in. No, he's going to keep it out there. So basically everyone but your top 9 have pitted, and Mayato is out here just running as long as he can, I think.
Yeah, if I was Keith Mayato or Jeremiah Hobbs or anyone that's staying out, I would come down pit road right now to try to mitigate that damage of that short pit of these other drivers that are doing. But also, I hit on earlier, around lap 95 was when you would have to come back down pit road. So they might be able to stretch it, maybe. Still 65 laps here. So it might be closer to 20 laps, but the pace just might not be able to keep up with the new tires.
Yeah, I'm not too sure how this is going to work out for Keith Mayato. I mean, he is still out here. It's now 42 laps on this stint. A few of those caution laps thrown in there, but I think these guys definitely trying to conserve and save a little bit. You see his teammates back there, Ryan Gemmel, Chris Samard on the same strategy. Hobbs is in there as well. Dennis Faircloth, Danny Glover, Michael Jones, the only drivers left on this strategy. Levi Cox has fallen off now to about 31.5 second laps, so still about a second faster per lap, as there goes Mayato now to pit lane, cuts it off the banking and nearly loses control getting to pit lane. Lost a lot of time right there. And behind him, Daniel Cunningham. That's a driver we're going to have to keep our eye on in this final run, final couple of runs here.
Yeah, when Daniel Cunningham came through and got up to that top 5, he was actually running 4/10 faster than that top 5, and he got up there and he couldn't do anything with the traffic. So Daniel Cunningham did a really good job with saving tires there. So as it looks like Gimbal and the 77 are coming down pit road, and I'm not sure if the 77 made pit road speed. We'll have to see.
Really close call for those guys. Keeping an eye on Mayato, or see if anybody got a penalty here. It just looks like so far so good. Jeremiah Hobbs continues to lead the way. Dennis Faircloth, Danny Glover, Chris Samard, or rather Michael Jones, the only drivers left out on the racetrack. These guys all trying to go maybe that next distance to go just one stop. Here comes Faircloth off the banking on the pit lane as well. Danny Glover is going to join him. As those two work down, that leaves just Jeremiah Hobbs and Michael Jones on the racetrack. This is really shaping up to be interesting. Can these guys go maybe just one more stop? They're going to have to go at least 3 or 4 more laps, I think. And I just don't think it's possible, and I don't think the 31 thinks it is either. Jeremiah Hobbs is bringing it in. Can Michael Jones somehow conserve enough fuel? He's basically a half a lap down already, so I don't really know if he's already been doing that to try and do a counter strategy, but he's not really going to be in position just because of how far back he is, I believe. But it sounds like he's maybe clutching and saving a lot.
Yeah, I will say this. Each lap you can run on the track is one less lap that you have to save. So I'm not sure with Michael Jones, but what I want to point out, Levi Cox has a 3-second lead to Ryan Phillips right now. Yes, Levi Cox was one of the first drivers to come down pit road, but he he has a 3-second buffer to where he can try to save tires and keep a good gap to Ryan Phillips behind him and Brody Hayes.
Yeah, definitely an interesting point right there, as Cox is just about to catch up to Michael Jones, and it looks like Michael Jones may be starting to put he's pacing himself right now. He was running over 33-second laps, and he is definitely clutching and saving through the corners here, which is costing him a lot of time, but he is getting very close to where he's going to need to be to make it to the end. He's gone 47 laps on this stint. He goes to the inside lane, the 54, now closing in to try to take the lead away, and now Michael Jones going to have to commit and bring it down pit lane, so going to have to see if he can actually stretch it from here. Nearly overdoes it on the pit lane, and the two now bringing it in. Levi Cox will take the top spot back away, and that'll be another lead change in this race, up to 20 in this one, with just the two cautions, one for the stage and just one other incident in this one. Lucas, this has been a fun race, man. This has got everything, a little strategy, a lot of action, and just a ton of battling.
Yeah, it's definitely been a lot of fun to watch, as you got different drivers on different strategies. You have Levi Cox on a little bit older tires than Brody Hayes. It looks like Brody Hayes is running a few tenths of a lap faster. It looks like about 4 according to my timing ticker right now. So it seems like in about 2 laps, Brody Hayes might be our new leader.
Yeah, he's closing in for sure. We'll see how things shake out when he gets into the wake of the 54. That'll definitely slow him up a little bit. But right now, this time at the stripe, Cox with a 31.89, Brody Hayes 31.46, so another 4/10 shaved off right there. He should be there in 2 laps. And some of these guys may try and stretch it to the end. They'll super save on this run. But I think we're going to see almost everyone bring it in. And the only driver being the exception could be Michael Jones, who's just brought it back out. He's 1 lap down. Wow, I'm going to be fascinated to see how it works out for him. He'll have to save a lot the whole run. And he may not end up with the win at the end of it, but might at least get a solid finish. 54 now under pressure. Brody Hayes is there.
Yeah, side by side, Brody Hayes and Levi Cox, as it looks like Brody Hayes is going to look down to the bottom now. Side by side going into turn 3. Brody Hayes should be able to take it pretty easily. I can't speak. I'm tripping over words, Adam.
Yeah, due to that tire advantage, I think, right? That's going to be why. Yeah, he's just able to clear him. No contest right there. The next car back in line that's on similar strategy to Brody Hayes, a 1-lap advantage to him, is Eric Hutton in that 3rd spot, who's had an up and down night, caught up in a couple of things, and ultimately now up here on the podium. Ray Massey behind him, a couple laps older. Noah Mahalski. Keith Mayato is back to 7th. He's about 3.5 seconds behind your leader, but running a 0.5 second a lap faster. So this could work out for Keith if he can clear some of these drivers in quick order. Right now it's Ryan Phillips, Noah Mahalski side by side. In front of him, Todd Giles, also slow down on the inside. We got to remember Brody. Remember, he pit a little early. I think that was due to getting the damage on the nose. And that car seems to be repaired pretty well. They must have zip tied it, put some new hood pins in it, and he's good to go. And pulling away a little bit from Levi Cox, though those two have stabilized somewhat. Hutton is starting to reel them in. Ray Massey, Noah Mahalski, Keith Mayato now battling to try to get back in the top 5. He's going to be in a good position with this tire advantage.
Yeah, he's currently 3 seconds back of the leaders right now. But it's like you hit on, he's running about 1/2 to 3/10 of lap faster than everybody else. So it'd be really interesting to see how Mayato is. It looks like he's about to go 3 wide with Ray Massey and Noah. Clears Massey, gets in line behind Noah Mahalski. So he's definitely working his way through the field right now.
Yeah, Mayato should be able to get back to the point. Noah Mahalski just trying to defend for what he can, but might be wise to try and follow the 36, who's got the tire advantage. As we look further back, Jace Coley, a driver we've followed most of this race, still inside the top 10. He's got pretty good tires compared to some of them in the top 10 as well, but Chris Samard one who had closed up a lot on my auto before the end of the run. He's actually lost a bit of time here in the opening laps after the pit stop. So just keep an eye on Chris Samard. Could be there challenging for a win potentially at the end of this thing. Those guys pitted pretty late in the cycle. I don't think they can make it on fuel, but we'll have to just wait and see how it all works out. It is Brody Hayes out in front. We're going to go to a quick side-by-side commercial break, and we will be right back.
At Cynthia Rogers, MD Dermatology, we specialize in providing comprehensive expert care for the full spectrum of skin conditions, from complex skin diseases and skin cancer to aging concerns and aesthetic needs. With decades of combined experience in medical, surgical, and aesthetic dermatology, our team brings both deep clinical knowledge and a patient-first approach to every visit. Our practice focuses on developing personalized treatment plans tailored to each individual's skin, health, and life stage. We're located in Port St. Lucie, Florida, in the PSL Professional Center. Learn more or schedule a visit at floridaskindoctor.com.
We've been around since 1946, originated as a scrap yard and evolved into a full-on steel service center, buying and selling new steel products of light fabrication, such as cutting, shearing, bending, threading. We also run a wholesale pipe, valve, and fitting plumbing division, as well as a retail showroom outlet. And then we also are a full-on structural steel fabricator, which is the skeletal steel that you see in commercial and residential structures. We sell to a wide variety of contractors, plumbers, maintenance type personnel, underground utility companies. We sell anything from single nuts and bolts to like a typical hardware store type of feel, one fitting, to full semi-loads of pipe. We're a little deeper in our inventory, and we actually have maybe a little more specialized type of fittings and such. Stock quite a diverse inventory, so we try to keep everything here to keep you guys going.
Backed by 70 years of experience, Duncan Water Systems specializes in commercial and residential water system testing, design, installation, and maintenance. Our mission at Duncan Water Systems is to provide high-quality water solutions to every customer. We pride ourselves on being responsive, honest, and customer-oriented. Our priority is safer water for you and your family. Contact us via call, text, email, or visit us at duncanwatersystems.com.
The lead has just changed hands once again. Keith Mayato back to the point. Brody Hayes falls to second behind his teammate Noah Mahalski in third. Ryan Gemmel continues to march forward. He's flying up through the field up to fourth and running faster than your top three. So keep an eye on that six machine with just under 35 laps to go. That is your run through the top five. And definitely interesting to see how these strategies are working out. Chris Samard also starting to close in. He's running some of the best times up here. He's in sixth. Daniel Cunningham, we saw him pit with Keith Mayato. Actually did not have a good pit cycle, but keep an eye on the 08 to get up there. And we could have 4, 5, 6 cars under a blanket maybe by the end of this thing. Don't count out Jace Cully, who's been charging as well. He's inside the top 10. And yeah, definitely important to note that Levi Cox brought it down pit lane. He runs 16th, but he's done pitting for the night. He can push as hard as he wants to get to the end of this thing, and he has a serious advantage, about 1.5 seconds per lap over your top 10 drivers, as he's trying to get by Chris Samard, which would be for the 6th position on track. And I'm trying to see who else. Eric Hutton has brought it in pretty early, pitting from inside the top 5 or so. So keep an eye on the 88 machine as he will try and get up through the field. Gemmel now peeks to the inside of Noah Mahalski.
Yeah, one thing with these drivers that are pitting early, they need this to run green so they don't get stuck a lap down. And as you were hitting on a second ago, Gemmel inside of Mahalski right now, going side by side with, or what looks like to be for the 3rd place position behind Brody Hayes, as my auto is slowly starting to pull away a few tenths a lap. You know, it was 2 tenths of a lap that last time by, but Gemmel still had a really good run on the bottom, still even with Noah Mahalski right now.
Here's an interesting thing to note as well. Michael Jones just got passed by Levi Cox. So Michael, remember, he's on a strategy to save to the end. So unless the 54 and almost everybody else who pits from this point wreck out, you know, he's probably not winning this race. Just hoping for a decent finish out of it. Looks like Cody Adkins will bring it back on the racetrack. Still not quite able to recover from the early damage on that car. Runs 23rd. We're only showing 12 cars on the lead lap because this has run so long.
Yeah, it's definitely been a lot of fun to watch, and I've been enjoying commentating this as he got to 17, coming down pit road for his service with 28 laps to go here in the race. 78 coming out of his box. You got Mike Koss in his box getting 4 fresh tires and fuel to make it to the end of the race, and he's out and away.
Yeah, keeping an eye here. Brody Hayes getting passed up by Levi Cox. Levi trying to get back to the lead lap. He runs 10th right now, and first car off the lead lap. He's got the leader in his sights to get back on that lead lap, and then he'll have just over 25 laps to go to the end of the race where he can just push as hard as he can. And right now, looking to the inside, Keith Mayato, just going to give him plenty of room to run down there. Knows he's on much fresher tires. And Levi Cox gets back to the lead lap. As Eric Hutton not too far behind. He'll be the next one to try and do that. And he's about 4.5 seconds back with 4 lap fresher tires than the 54. And every lap makes a difference here at Atlanta. This Archive Atlanta. This racing surface will eat your tires 1 lap at a time. And so, you know, the 54 pit early, he's got that early advantage, but it's going to bite him on the end of the run.
Yeah, for me personally, I want to say for the first 5 laps, you're basically running the same lap time, and it falls off about 2 to 3 tenths, and then you're stable again for another 5 laps, and then it just falls off of a cliff, as you got Ryan Gemmel on pit road.
Yeah, so Gemmel, contrarian strategy here to his teammates who are running up front, and he'll bring it down. Michael Kostick also going to bring it in the 9 machine. He's had a nice quiet top 10 run in this one. So we'll see where Gemmel cycles out, because Levi Cox is coming off turn 4. Gemmel is just into his box and getting service done. And Eric Hutton also just exiting turn 4. So, oh, Brody Hayes. Oh, man. Not sure if they made contact getting onto pit lane. Let's take a look at that. That was a really close call for the 37 and the 03 as they were getting down to pit road speed. Both of them committing late, and Brody went for a long slide, and I'm not sure that he got inside the commitment cone on that one.
Do you want to know what I think what happened? I think the marbles coming from the track onto that pit road access road is what got Brody Hayes loose, and he might have locked it up a little bit too. It was a really late commitment from both him and Noah, so we'll have to see if Brody. Oh, he did get a black flag.
Yeah, he gets the penalty there. So that is going to be the race for the 37, who had a fantastic run tonight. Chase Abel brings it in from the race lead. Jace Cullian as well. That'll hand it over to Levi Cox. And he's got about 3 seconds back to Eric Hutton. Got to look at where Keith Mayato re-enters. He is 10.5 seconds behind with just under 25 laps to go. This is going to be a heck of a run to the end for the driver of the 36 machine. And Ryan Gemmel, just that 1 lap difference gets him out in front by about a second over his teammate. So we'll see how that all shakes out. Ray Massey pit about 5 laps prior to them. He's about 2.5 or 1.5 seconds in front of Gemmel. But everybody has now brought it back down. Michael Jones, the only one who has not made potentially his final stop, banking on a different strategy to gain some track position. If caution does come out, he's got an extra set of tires as well. So there is that. But Levi Cox hanging on to the top position. He's led portions of this race. 6 laps led after starting in that 3rd position. He's going to lead another one here. And hoping to lead as much as he can here to the end of the race.
Yeah, he's definitely praying that that undercut strategy on Keith Mayato will actually work. Last lap for Levi Cox was a 31.45, and for Keith Mayato, a second faster, a 30.64. So as it looks like the 17 got loose out of turn 2, and that's one thing we're definitely going to be start seeing a lot more as this race is almost with 20 laps to go here. Drivers trying to get everything that they can out of these tires, especially if you came down later, because you can't use the tires if the race is over. So you definitely got to use them during the race.
Yeah, use up every bit of Goodyear rubber, or rather, this is General Tire rubber on these ARCA machines. As battle for 4th is done and over with, Gemmel gets there. He completes the pass. So keep an eye on this 6. It could be a battle between Gemmel and Mayato. These two have had a fight here at this track in the past. I believe that was in the Next Gens a few seasons ago. Gemmel has to check up for Todd Giles just a little bit there, who keeps it up on the outside, gets into the wall next to Ray Massey. But now Ryan Gemmel just 6.5 seconds behind Levi Cox. Keith Mayato down to 6.7 seconds from over 10.5. He is closing, and just have to see how close they can get, or if it starts to level out before they get there. But Eric Hutton still closing in about a 1/10 or so per lap. It's possible Levi Cox has played this perfectly.
Yeah, one thing I'm curious with Ryan Gemmel and Mayato, though, is their VSPEED teammates. I wonder if they're talking to one another and be like, look Gemmel, just look straight ahead. I will be behind you, pushing you. And hopefully Eric Hutton and Levi Cox end up battling. Yes, Levi Cox is on older tires, and if Hutton makes a move, that's still going to slow Hutton down just a little bit. With Gemmel and Mayato only being 4 seconds back of Hutton, it only takes a few laps for them to definitely reel in the top 2.
Yeah, and they have pretty clean track looking off the nose of 36 right now. So pretty clean track for the moment, and that's going to help them. And they're running 2 different lines, trying to get as much clean air as they can. But they've got to be concerned that you could still get a yellow flag at some point, and that could shake things up quite a bit. Levi Cox has put himself in position to potentially steal this one away. Started up there in 3rd, hasn't really, has run in the top 10 at points in this race. Has had good long run speed. And obviously playing to that by having to go a little bit longer than everybody on this final stint. Eric Hutton, 2.2 seconds arrears here, and not running much faster than the 54. But yeah, these next 2 running about a half second to 0.7 of a second faster than Cox. And that'll get them there in about 5-6 laps. But if they battle side by side like this for 3rd, that's going to slow them down. Mayato maybe seeing he's a little quicker, nearly gets into the teammate.
Yeah, I'm definitely curious on what they're thinking about doing here. I know that they're on the track and I'm just up here in the booth, but if I was teammates, I would try to work with them, because if you start battling now, you might lose your chance at winning this race, whether it's a teammate or it's you. If I was looking at lap times, they would catch him with about 6 to 4 laps remaining, and catching them is one thing, getting around them is another.
Yeah, especially at that point in the run, they'll have over 20 laps on the tires, and it might be pretty well equalized. Levi Cox running a 31.8, Gemmel and Mayato just 2 or 3 tenths faster that time. Right behind them is Noah Michalski, who's on equal tires. He's going to be in this fight for the win as well. Keep an eye on Noah Michalski, maybe seeing the teammates battle. He's trying to just conserve a little bit more. by staying here kind of solo, not going to get involved in that fight until it comes time to do it at the end of the race. And Eric Hutton, he is not gaining anymore on Levi Cox. He is stabilized, and he's just up the road from these three. And the distance now from Mayato to Levi Cox, basically 3 seconds flat, as we're coming to, it'll be 13 laps to go when the 54 crosses the stripe.
Yeah, last time by, it looks like Mayato and Gimbel was about 7/10 faster than the leader. Let's see what it is this time by. About half a second faster. And if I'm doing a little bit of quick math, should it be about 7 laps as we should see him, as Ryan Gimbel is to the back of Eric Hutton now, looking to the inside. Let's see how fast Gimbel can get the pass done. And he's definitely got him cleared coming out of turn 4. Yeah, so let's watch Mayato, my bad, try to run down Levi Cox and get this win.
Yeah, Mayato now clear. He's got 2 seconds to go in just over 10 laps. And so it is Noah Michalski putting the pressure on the 6 machine. I think he knows that Ryan maybe burned his stuff up. He's got a 1-lap tire deficit to these guys. And Michalski seeing his battle there with the 36, maybe for the win in this one. Levi Cox's lead just dissolving before his eyes, and looks like Dallas Sullivan will bring it down one final time in this race. He was trying to stretch it potentially for another yellow flag, but not going to work out for Dallas in this one. And now has Levi Cox saved anything to try and defend against these next 3 drivers? It's going to be a tall order here, coming to 10 to go.
Yeah, Mayato, Gimbel, and Noah are all still running half a second faster than Levi Cox. If I was Levi, when they get to me, try to run that top line or pinch them down to the bottom. If you go up top, you can get that run on the backstretch, try to make that move going back into either turns 1 or 3. But as it looks like Noah Michalski is actually kind of rolling in Mayato, and if they start battling, Levi can try to use that to pull back out just a little bit. And they actually rolled him 3/10 last lap.
Yeah, so that was a little bit less than the previous time, as here goes Michael Jones going to go now a lap down once again. So his strategy, again, not working out, and he's going to have to try and stretch it all the way to the end of this one. So he is really super saving. You can see the speed difference for the 2 machine, who's just kind of limping around the apron. The gap now 8.5 tenths between Keith Mayato and Levi Cox. Laps winding down. Keep Noah Michalski right there in tow. And Ryan Gimbel's not out of this one. Eric Hutton also could be in the catbird seat if anything happens here in the final few moments of this race, running in the top 5. And then Chris Samard, who's had a good solid run up to 6th, could have an opportunity to even get up there and challenge Eric Hutton for a top 5. That all remains to be seen. It's a half second now off turn number 2. Here comes Faircloth up onto the racetrack after making his final pit stop. He'll get out of the way of the race leader, nearly gets into Levi Cox just a bit, and that is going to check him up big time. Here comes Mayato with a full head of steam. It's a quarter second. It's 2 car lengths. It's 1.5 now at the start finish line. 7 laps to go from Atlanta. And Mayato is there.
Yeah, I definitely think Levi Cox actually wanted the bottom, and Faircloth committed before Cox as they're side by side for the lead. Even going into turn 3, Mayato's leaning on the door of Cox, trying to slow him down.
Big slide.
Big slide. That's going to kill the run. Noah goes up to the top, nose in the wall.
Oh, man. Yeah, that was a big block by Levi Cox. He kind of used the door as a defense mechanism. We're going to keep an eye on the replay. They went into the corner, maybe a little contact on entry. Keith gets loose, chasing it up the hill, and then they get together, the 03 and the 36, Michalski into the wall, and they have to collect their momentum. Now Ryan Gimbel goes to second. That may be just enough of a margin for Levi Cox. Now that we're battling again, Mayato's not going to be happy about that. 5 laps to go, and Mayato's going to have another shot at it here, I think.
That last lap, the group of Mayato, Gimbel, and Michalski only 1/10 faster. We'll definitely see what it is, as it looks like Gimbel's got a run coming into turn 3. We'll see where he goes compared to Cox. Gimbel goes up the top, Cox goes down the bottom, and my auto is on the left rear of Gimbel, and they're still side by side battling hard for second. We got 4 cars under a blanket with under 5 to go in this race.
Yeah, Levi Cox out in front. My auto goes up the hill. He's going to pull the slide job off turn number 2 in front of the teammate Gimbel, who had gotten by him, definitely taking advantage of the opportunity there, and he is faster than the 54. This could shake out very interestingly. It's going to be another shot potentially for my auto. Levi Cox using the defense there of really holding the 36 down originally, and that's what caused them all to get stacked up. Lost a lot of time. Now 3 to go. What is Levi Cox going to do to try and defend once again? He's using the top side. Everybody else trying to run a slightly different line. And the 54, good run off the turn that time. Going to be coming back to 2 to go. And is Keith, my auto, going to be able to get there after running him down from 10.5 seconds back?
Yeah, this battle is just heating up with coming to 2 to go to the line. All the lap times, they're even. Only about half a tenth faster for the 3 cars behind. As you see my auto running a lane down than Levi Cox in the corner. He's getting that clean air on his nose, but I'm curious if he got damage from Noah Mahalski from him getting loose as he goes into turn 3 behind Cox. Only 1 car length back. 1.5 seconds is the margin coming out of turn 4, Adam.
Oh, and he's going to get a big slide off turn 4. That'll increase the gap just a bit. It's about a quarter second. 2 car lengths. White flag in the air from Atlanta. Levi Cox trying to hang on here for a dramatic finish. Keith Mayato trying to get back to the point. He's led so much of this race. He's tracked him back down. Big slide for the 54. It's going to be a drag race back to turn number 3. It'll be pretty much nose to tail. What is Mayato going to do? 54 used him up last time. Here he goes. Sends it to the inside. Slide job. 54 cuts it down the track. Mayato last lap pass. He's going to get it clear out of turn 4. Mayato wins at Atlanta. Wow, what a finish.
Yeah, that was definitely a great finish. My auto definitely sent it into turn 3, doing exactly what he needed to do. Levi Cox did a great job running that top side, but just got a little bit loose, as you have congratulatory bumps from Ryan Gimbel, who finished P2 tonight, and you have Noah Mahalski, who rounds out the podium in 3rd.
Wow, I just can't believe the move actually worked. It stuck. He was able to get the pass done, and Keith Mayato gets his first win of the season here in race number 2. Ryan Gimbel right there in behind him for a 2nd place finish. Noah Mahalski actually ends up coming home 3rd. So Levi Cox goes from 1st to 4th in the final corner, as those guys really just sent it down in there. And what an amazing job to keep it all clean in the final moments of this one. Mayato, your winner. We'll be back to interview him and take a look at that replay once again, as well as talk to our top 3 finishers. And here comes Mayato, big run out of 4. He's going to be there.
Tristan Martin's there. Cannot count out to 37.
Oh!
Cabot,
Where did he come from? Here comes Slack.
A punch from the 33.
It's a drag race.
The Magic Man wins it Auto Club.
We're taking a look back at the replay of this incredible finish tonight from the CM Ceramics 225 in Atlanta. It was Levi Cox with the lead into turn number 4. Keith Mayato making the winning move, slides it up in front of him, able to clear. 54 of Cox catches the wall, actually gets loose. He falls all the way to 4th, but Keith Mayato leads his teammate Ryan Gemmel across the stripe. And an amazing finish here from Atlanta. Such a fun one to watch tonight. Lucas, let's take a look at our results from tonight's race, and we'll talk to our top 3 finishers in just a moment. So Keith Mayato gets his first win of the lead, making the 24th lead change of the race. Incredible action all night long. Ryan Gemmel almost gets to him there in the final seconds, comes home in second. Noah Mahalski finishing in that 3rd spot. Levi Cox finishes 4th. Eric Hutton in the 5th position. Chris Samard 6th. Daniel Cunningham in 7th. Michael Kostick in 8th. Ray Massey comes home in 9th. And Jace Coley, impressive race for him. He comes home in the 10th position.
Yeah, in P11s, we got the 27 of Phillips and the 12th, the 11th position. In the 12th position, we have the 31 of Jeremiah Hobbs. In the 13th position, we have Mankey. In the 14th position, we have the 7 of Abel. In the 15th position, we have the 077 of Barker. And the 16th position, we have the 78 of Glover. And the 17th position, we have the 63 of Kosk. And the 18th position, we have the 37 of Brody Hayes. I will probably mess this name up, and I apologize in advance. I'm still new around BTDY. But in 19th, we have Ray Miller, who started in the 25th position, 1 lap down. And in the 20th position, we have the 80 of Faircloth.
Finishing 21st tonight, it was Michael Jones, last week's winner, not quite able to follow up on the success here at Atlanta, but he'll be back next week at Nashville Fairground to try and get another victory. Dallas Sullivan comes home in 22nd. Cody Adkins finishing in the 23rd spot tonight. Todd Giles Jr. will come home in 24th. Brady Wagner finishes in 25th. 26th was Michael Robinson. 27th was Adrian Loya. Zach Smith finishes 28th, and James Loveland, with the early exit in this one, finishes in that 29th spot. Lucas, what an incredible race we had here tonight. We're going to talk to our 3rd place finisher, Noah Mahalski, if we can get him up in here. Hey, Noah, this is Adam and Lucas up in the booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir.
Well, man, fun battle there in the final moments of this one. You come home in the 3rd place. You had the same strategy as the 36, and you led a couple laps battling all night long. Just describe, the whole race tonight and the battle at the front.
Well, honestly, this was a really fun race. There was a lot of strategy involved near the end and just trying to find clean air, like, the whole time. It's like everyone was running the top, and I felt better on the bottom for me because no one was down there. But it was finding the clean air helped a lot. And then that last pit stop got really sketchy between me, Keith, and Brody. That was fun. I don't think I've ever had a pit entrance like that before. And I don't know, I just had a lot of fun. As this track is one of my favorites, so glad it's on the schedule.
Yeah, and obviously showed off your speed here tonight, and you're up there leading some laps and fighting for the lead basically all night long, and you come home with an amazing finish in the 2nd race of the season. We go to Nashville Fairgrounds next week, which is a much different type of racetrack, but how do you feel going out there in these ARCA cars?
I feel like qualifying is going to be key because that track's a lot of just single lane. I don't know if these cars could really make use of the top or not, but I guess we'll just figure that out next week.
Yeah, definitely gonna be interesting to see how it works out. But you come home with a great finish here tonight from Atlanta in the CM Ceramics 225. Anybody want to give a shout out to?
Yeah, thanks for all the league sponsors, everybody that's racing. It was a great race tonight. Hopefully we can keep this up all season. Thank you guys up in the booth, and then my girlfriend for watching, all my friends for watching, and all the sponsors in the car too, I guess.
Awesome, Noah. Well, congrats on a great finish and great run out here at Atlanta. We'll catch you at Nashville Fairgrounds next week.
All right, thank you, sir.
Thank you. That is our third place finisher. Noah Mahalski will now go to second place. I believe that is going to be Mr. Ryan Gemmel, and Lucas, I believe you're with him.
Yeah, I'm with Ryan Gemmel down on pit road. Ryan, you started in the 11th position in the race, and I know that there was a big checkup. I'm not too sure if you saw that, or what was your thoughts out on the racetrack?
Yeah, it looked like I'm not even sure who it was. Maybe one or two cars on the outside lane spun the tires on that first start. Luckily, I was able to get through that without making any contact, and I was able to make some headway pretty early on, and that definitely helped. Track position played a big part in being able to run up front tonight. Just being able to try and match your pace with the lead guys was important, and just trying to save the right rear because it built really free, and that's kind of what I struggled with all night long. I didn't do the best job of managing that right rear off the corner. But all in all, it was a solid night. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. That was probably one of the most fun league races I've run in a long time.
Yeah, after that last set of pit stops, we kind of saw you and Keith working together for a little bit. Take me through working with a teammate on the final few laps remaining to try to catch a leader. Was there any sort of communication going on between you two, or was it at that point of the race where you're just like, we're gonna duke it out and see who comes out on top?
To be honest with you, we were just racing as hard as we could, really. There towards the end, whenever he was in second, and we were trying to run down the remember who it was, the 07, whoever was in the lead there. We were trying to run him down, and I couldn't quite get to Keith's back bumper, and I kept telling him, if I can get to you, I'll push you, and I couldn't quite get there. And then, yeah, the last lap they got side by side, and actually, I think he said he ran out of gas, and it would have been a little bit different if Keith would have been behind him when he ran out of gas. Might have played out in my favor a little bit more, but all in all, I'll take a second place. So yeah, it was a lot of fun.
So I'm trying to think of any more questions. Adam, you got any?
Yeah, just we're headed to Nashville Fairgrounds next week, Ryan. Great run here. Didn't have the run at Daytona you were looking for, but get the season on the right track tonight. How do you feel about going to Nashville Fairgrounds in the ARCA cars?
I think it's going to be really interesting. It all depends on how the setup is, really. These things can be really tight, or they can build really free, and it all just depends on how they're set up. But if it builds free, kind of like tonight, I think it'll be pretty interesting with the going to a short track and for the first time. And I know we did a deal at Richmond before the season, and Brody whooped up on everybody pretty bad, and that car was pretty free. So we'll see how that goes. I'm hoping I can make it. I got a lot of stuff coming up here in the next few weeks, so I may not be able to make Nashville or Gateway, but hopefully after that I'll be able to be back at it.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. Go ahead.
No, you got it.
Well, thank you for your time, Ryan. Go ahead and thank your sponsors and a few shout outs.
Yeah, definitely want to give a huge shout out to CM Ceramics for sponsoring the race. My beautiful bride to be here pretty soon. That's her pottery business, so show her some love. Check out the website. She's got a lot of cool stuff on there. And Florida Skin Doctor as well for coming on board and sponsoring the season and helping us out. That was extremely kind of them to do so. So hopefully we're representing them as good as we can, and a second place finish I think does that. I just wish it was one spot better.
Well, thank you for your time, and congrats on a second place finish.
Thank you.
That is your second place finisher here tonight, Ryan Gemmel, just one spot short of the victory, as we will now go to victory lane and join our race winner there. That is going to be Mr. Keith Mayato, in what was a very dramatic come to the end of this one. Let's see if we can get a word in with him. Hey Keith, this is Adam and Lucas up in the booth. You got a copy?
10-4.
Well, Keith, you do it in dramatic fashion here. You dominated this race, really. You had the car to beat. You would drop back a few laps, every restart or every caution we had, and ultimately get back to the point and control the race. This one, you had to track him down from 10.5 seconds back and make the move on the final corner. How did that feel to get the victory in that way? And just describe the last 10 laps or so of this race.
It was a little nerve-wracking. At some point, I didn't think I was gonna catch him, especially when I had that moment underneath Levi. I got loose and kind of got into Noah there, and then I was behind Ryan, and I was like, and then I got past Ryan. I'm like, there's no way I'm gonna catch him in 2 laps because it just didn't look like I was making ground. So it was just like, just try to run consistent laps in the last 2 laps, and I had that run. And I was like, okay, I got to send it in there. Hopefully I clear him. If not, it's just not going to work out. But luckily for me, Levi looked like he ran out of gas mid-corner. And it made my move look pretty good. But it probably would have been a different story if he didn't run out of fuel.
Yeah, definitely was a wild ending to this one. We've seen you, with wild finishes here with Ryan in the past as well. The same racetrack. You guys seem to find each other in the final moments of the race. You come home just 1 spot better than him. I believe second time in a row that's happened in a finish like this. But just an incredible start to your season. You had a shot at winning Daytona. On the last lap, things kind of slipped away there, but you get the victory in race 2. So that gives you a lot of confidence going to Nashville Fairgrounds next week.
Yeah, I'm happy to finish this one in the right direction, not the rear end sticking out of the chassis, but it was a good finish overall, and it's kind of nice to beat Ryan twice at Atlanta, so I have to rub that one in there. But yeah, it was a hell of a lot of fun, to be honest. Even though I was a lot, trying to be very patient and not try to abuse my tires, but it was a real good race overall.
Yeah, definitely a lot of fun to watch from our perspective, and you get that first victory of the season, and definitely going to be a good start for you here between these first 2 races. So anybody want to give a shout out to for the victory tonight at Atlanta?
Yeah, like shout out to CM Ceramics, Florida Skin Doctors, and all our supporting sponsors, and yourself, Adam, with Lucas, doing an awesome job in the VSPEED broadcast.
Awesome, Keith. Well, congrats on the win here tonight. A lot of fun to watch you battle and track him down there. Looked like vintage classic Keith Mayato. So definitely fun to see you get the victory here, buddy. And go celebrate. We'll catch you next week at Nashville Fairgrounds.
I appreciate it. I'll see if I can keep it up.
All right. Thank you. That is Keith Mayato, your race winner here tonight. And Lucas, he sounds like a happy man to get it done. Didn't think he was going to be able to, and ultimately pulled it off there. Just an incredible night all around from Atlanta here for the CM Ceramics 225. And man, just give me some of your thoughts as we head on out. I'm still kind of spinning up here.
This was definitely an entertaining race all around, and I want to point out, you actually pointed out Mayato to be the race winner, and guess who comes out on top? And man, he looked really strong tonight, working on saving tires. As we saw every single run, he would drop a few positions, and then he would drive back through, get back to the lead, whether it's the very last lap or a few laps to go before that pit window opens. And in my eyes, he's definitely going to be a tough one to beat on the rest of this season.
Yeah, he's always a name to watch for here in BTDY, and a few of those names rose to the top here as well. Chris Simard, your pick, comes home in that 6th spot and definitely had a good run, good showing all night long, and just an incredible start to the season. 2 very dramatic finishes, 2 different winners, and I'm looking forward to Nashville Fairgrounds, a little short track action next week to change things up once again. Do want to thank you so much for tuning in here to the CM Ceramics 225 on VSPEED. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. If you enjoyed the video and all of the racing action you saw here, we're live almost every single night on the channel. So make sure to tune in and hit that bell icon to stay notified of when we go live. And we'll be right back here next Tuesday night with the Below the Double Yellow Racing series presented by FloridaSkinDoctor.com. And thank you so much once again. Have a great night.